Do not attempt to adjust your dial. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum. It's your boy Big Vern. This is App Stupid, the fastest growing sports and entertainment show on these YouTube streets. You're welcome. Holla. Like, whoa. Big Vern, like, whoa. Shout out to Big Rob. Yo, was it the Black Rob from Bad Boy? Yeah. Shout out to him. Shout out to Bad Boy Records. It's your boy Big Vern getting back at y'all. We having a great day so far here in the Midwest. We was talking about Alabama. They got embarrassed. They got spanked, and they got their pants pulled down in Vandy. I don't know where you go from that. They can't stay in the top 10 though, because they lost to a 2-2 team that is projected to do nothing in the SEC. So yeah, there's no way you can justify keeping Alabama in the top 10. That's just a bad loss. Then Louisville, the coaching squad, they cost the Cardinals a victory over SMU in the closing seconds of that game. That was mind-blowing. Find out what we think about that. Then we talk some more SEC football. Texas A&M, they beat the holy whopping dog shit out of Missouri when I told you Missouri wouldn't jack shit to begin with. Now, this brings us to the Big Ten and Michigan. Michigan has fallen. Now, I bring this up because this is just ridiculous. They get exposed because I told you Alex Orji, he can't throw. And they're not going to win many games where he's throwing for 60 yards max. That's not an over-exaggeration or me having an active imagination. This is all facts. Go look at it. I knew Orji's time under center was coming to an end. And what do you know? Saturday, that guy goes 3 of 7 for 15 yards, and Coach Moore decided he had seen enough. He saw enough. And before, like I said, I'm not going to go ahead and bury the lead here. I'm not going to sit here and act like Michigan was playing some dominant squad. They were playing the Washington Huskies. Now, I told you I like Jetfish. And I said that this game was going to be a 50-50 game. I said this game was going to be a 50-50 game. I had no idea Michigan was going to come out and get goose-egged in the first quarter. Then they redeemed themselves in the second quarter to make this thing at halftime 14-10. But when you go back and you look at this if you look at this and see it for what it is, and this is all going back to Wink Martindale. That dude is awful. That guy is one of the highest paid defensive coordinators in college football because he came from the quote-unquote Baltimore Ravens, a defensively strong team. And it's under the assumption he would be able to do that and much more on a college level when this guy hasn't coached in college in over 20 years. And on that defense, the Washington Huskies threw for 315 yards. For all the pass rush, all the blitzes, all of this and that guy can't stop Washington, the Huskies. They put up 100 yards in rushing on the ground, 23 first downs, third down efficiency behind the 8 ball 11 times. They converted 5 of those. Michigan could not get off the field. They could not get off the field. Boneheaded penalties. We got interceptions. We got fumbles. It's just like, why are you shooting yourself in the foot? You're on the road. 5 penalties for 40 yards. And this is the third quarterback. This is Michigan's third quarterback. And it's week 6. I don't know where you go from here. I've never seen this before. I've never seen where a program really doesn't have a guy who can throw the ball. They just don't. Give me a quick 20 from a unofficial sponsor of the show. This is Big Vern. Drop the spot. Yes, Taco Bell, Live Moss. Taco Bell, Live Moss. Order online, download the app, or visit the good folks at the local Taco Bell. Taco Bell, Live Moss. So before the break, I told you that this is Michigan's third quarterback. And leading up to that Texas game, Davis Warren was the guy. But he had a horrendous game against Texas. And when they played Arkansas State, then Mr. Warren wasn't done throwing interceptions. He was throwing interceptions in that game. And so this leads to you to insert Alex Orji. And they started winning some games, but I was the only one that was coming on these YouTube streets telling you that Alex Orji can't throw. You're not going to beat the Ohio States of the world, Penn States of the world, Indiana. You're not going to beat any of these teams when you can only throw for 60 yards in a game. Not a quarter, not a half, a game. And that's what Alex Orji's skill set was. Insert Mr. Jack Tuttle. I guess he's the only guy in Ann Arbor who answered the phone and had to suit up getting out of a Planet Fitness because this guy also threw interceptions. They had 18 plays dialed up for him. He was 10 of 18 for 98 yards. He didn't break 100 yards and a score. He pulled it down, called his number 5 times for a scramble. 5 times. Only got 14 yards out of it. He only got 14 yards out of scrambling 5 times. And I don't know why Michigan is trying all of these different things out there, throwing things up against the wall to see what sticks. And I know people are sitting here like, Vernon, don't be a prisoner of the moment. Don't be a prisoner. They play Illinois next week. They have a bye. They've got a bye. And then they play Illinois. And then they have a rivalry in Michigan State. And then Oregon gets to come and jump up and down on them like a dirty mattress. And then they got to play Indiana at Indiana. They'll win against Northwestern, but then they have to go to the Horseshoe to get their head kicked in by the Ohio State Buckeyes. And let's get it out of our minds now. It's fantasy. If you think Moore is going to walk in there and have a season-saving victory against the Ohio State Buckeyes, there's no way. There's no way. And if you're going to count the ranked teams that they play 4 ranked teams in the next 6 games. This is very problematic for Coach Moore and that coaching staff. It is very problematic. They barely beat Minnesota. And they give up over 20 points a game. And so, like I said, if you want to go ahead and, you might be a prisoner of the moment. No, I'm not. Look at the schedule. Look how deep we're into the season. And if you don't have a number 1 guy at quarterback, there's no need for you to keep the charade going. At this point, all the Michigan games should be free because the good people of Ann Arbor, you're not going to a college playoff. It's going to be, out of these last 6 games, you're going to take 3 losses, definitely. You may get away with Illinois, but if you lose to Illinois, it's definitely over. Indiana at Indiana, they're going to beat you. Kurt Cignetti, he's actually undefeated right now. You got off easy. You don't play Iowa and you don't play Penn State. Had you played those teams, they would have beaten you up and finished you off also. However, Oregon is going to beat you. Oregon is going to beat you bad. Ohio State is looking for revenge. And I don't know if nobody told you, but those guys are undefeated. And those guys, they looking for some payback. Don't you go down there with this foolishness now. You go down there, you take your ass whooping like a man, and you forget about everything that went on in 2024 and look for something good to happen in 2025. Don't even accept the bowl game. Just walk away with your dignity and get out of town. But one thing's for certain, you got to fire Wink. Wink Martindale is awful. This guy did nothing after Baltimore let him go. He floated up to New York. New York had one decent season, but they still got slaughtered. And they were starting to get slaughtered again, and then he got his pink slip. And then somehow the Harbaughs worked a con job where they pawned him off on you, and Jim Harbaugh hit it for the back door and made it to Charger World. And if they really was all about Wink Martindale, how come he ain't out in Charger land? When he got fired in New York, how come they didn't want him back in Baltimore? Right. They knew he wasn't no damn good. And then they made you take him. They made you take him. So you got a defense that allows opponents with coherent football teams to put up 20 plus points a game on you all. And then they leave it up to you all to go ahead and get into some sort of shootout. You don't have a definite quarterback because Tuttle, his time is actually dwindling because this is your third guy. It's week 6. You're just trying to get to the bye. Yes, you got to the bye. You lost to Washington, but then you come back in a buzzsaw game against Illinois. And Illinois, they're going to be ready. They're going to be prepared. And they're going to be rested. And they're going to wait to hurt you. So where do you go in this? Where do you go in this? I don't know. I like I said, I don't feel sorry because you signed a contract. You're a big boy. You knew what you were getting into. But the good folks of Ann Arbor, should you be paying for football games? Because it's apparent they don't know what the hell to do. This is Big Vern.